Barbarity begets barbarity. What we've seen so far in the Mideast in the last few days, from Hamas into Israel, and what we're seeing now going from Israel into Hamas, will all incite hatred, fan the flames of hatred, and make things get worse. When it's as if that's what's wanted. It's as if that's what's intended. Remember, I come in here many times and tell you guys that you can go around the world, and most people, people are the core. At the core, people are the same anywhere. There's good and bad people in every land of every race, color, creed, religion, and every shire, hamlet, town, city, state, whatever you want to call it. You can find good people in any of these places. You can also find bad people, but people that percolate to the top are quite often the people that find power into blaming things on others and getting people to rally around them and do things to them. And then that generates hatred and they do it back. We're in the midst of a global feud, the likes of which we've not seen in a couple of generations. And it's about to get ugly. Now, the key thing here, I'm not trying to take sides. There's story on both sides of this. But the key thing is what you've got to do to get yourself ready for you and your family. I mean, you need to be aware of the seriousness, the graveness of the situation at hand. And some people and some things are very dismissive. This isn't going to happen. It's those Piercy cons, I'm flipping that if you know what I mean, that, everything they say, blah, 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 blah. Like that article I showed you in my previous video. One of the two authors, one of them was, I think, Mike Rothschild. Guys, I'm about to show you some more stuff and bring it home. But the key thing is, it's about to get ugly. And the real thing here is that when you bring in people's sense of identity into it, when you bring in their sense of religion and the things that people hold dear at their core, and that's what's under attack. And then heinous acts are committed against people that identify one way or the other. And then counter heinous acts are committed. Oh, yeah. But you know what? There are people that bank on that. There are people that get power from that. There are people that make money from that. There are guys, for example, who's the winner in the situation coming down right now? It's Iran at the moment. They're one of the winners. Maybe our state that tends to be on the side that's somewhat deep, if you know what I mean, might also possibly be a winner in this if it preserves their sense of power when the population over here is getting kind of restless about that. And in conflicts, they have excuses to throw down martial law or pass patriot acts or all kind of things, which do not serve the purpose and the will of the people. And the will of the people, we're supposed to be in a society where the will of the people is what matters. But they don't want it that way. And so they distract us, divide us, and pit us against each other domestically, internationally, in any way and every way they can, divide and conquer. And we're being conquered in more ways than one. And part of it has to do with what's coming across our border. I've had somebody comment on a recent video, say, well, the government. Well, it'll be them. That's what I fear most. And I just reply, well, who do you think opened the gate? Who let them in? So, there's a lot of dimensions to this, guys, but that's the way they want it. They want it so that there's so many things coming at us from so many different directions that you just don't know what to do. Well, the main thing to do is be centered, be prepared, not scared, and be prepared to take care of your family in every way you can. Get you some of that oil to go with your nug. Their coats need a little refreshing from time to time, if you know what I mean. Happiness is a warm nug. If you don't know what a nug is, take that word and flip it around too. If you're new to my channel, I do some code speak. You have to. Being on this platform is like walking on thin ice in an earthquake wearing cleats. So, guys, I'm going to show you some stuff. We'll talk as we go here. I'm going to try to make it quick tonight because I haven't slept in about 3 or 4 nights and it's getting kind of old on me here. Here we go. Like I said, I just shared an article in my previous video attacking people that think, that we might have a problem, especially when they ain't coming across the border, anything from Hamas. No, Hamas is just a little organization. Of course, I showed you how it's been, there's testimony in Congress from years ago about it, how it's claimed now that they have a beachhead in Venezuela, and what's coming from Venezuela, and we got only 500,000 visas, work visas now approved from Venezuela. I don't know, guys. But when a president of another country through which these people are traipsing through is coming out and going out of his way to warn you, we're not listening. So is those guys who wrote that article, are they going to call this man a liar? Well, probably they would. This guy, the president of a nation from whence all these people are passing, or at least a lot of them, he's just, he's just blowing smoke. I know he's wearing a tinfoil cap. I don't see one on his head, but anyway. So the president of Guatemala, the current sitting president of Guatemala, warned us about this. He told us that the United States is going to have very big problems. The United States is going to have very big problems. And he told us this before all that other stuff went down, before what happened in Israel. He's told us this on the 4th of October. Yeah, he says what the United States has is not an immigration process. What the United States has is a process of invasion. Invasion. This is what the president of Guatemala told us. He said there are 286,000 persons in this Darien Gap in Guatemala. I guess these are a whole bunch more that are aiming to come this way. That Maduro, who is Maduro? The president, where? Venezuela. He didn't mention that here, but I'm telling you, oh yeah, I like the way this article put it. They don't call him the president in this article. Maduro has sent them to create instability in the United States. Oh, that can't possibly, can it? Panama is the hub of immigration. That's that Darien Gap. He says, everyone who passes through the Darien Gap, I explained, to the administration 2 years ago. So he warned the administration. He's been warning the Biden administration ignores this man. They've been ignoring him. Why? Because he kind of likes Republicans. He's pro-life, pro-Taiwan, pro-Israel, among other things. So he can't be true. So guys, when it comes to you from the president of Guatemala, he says a Guatemalan intelligence report we obtained said that 20,522 people from 9 nationalities of interest in terms of terrorism and narcotics trade, which he outlined as China, Russia, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, Syria, Afghanistan, Turkey, and Yemen, had arrived in Guatemala between the 1st of January 22 and August the 31st of 2023. Of these, by far the most, he says 5,859 came from China. Trying to be a little code walk talking here, followed by 2,153 from Rusland. Yeah, he says they are just illegal entries. The total number, oh, these are the legal entries. These are the ones they know about. These are the ones that come in legal. He said the total number is likely to be much higher, guys. We have seized immigrants from Pakistan, Afghanistan, etc. There will be terrorists, he warned us. There will be terrorists. So how is it that we get a guy who's the president of the country, where they're coming from, and trying to warn us, has been trying to warn us for 2 years, and it's just a piracy con. I'm flipping that word again for those that need a reminder. Wow, guys. I mean, seriously. And it gets deeper. Fox News, Janine Pirro says that Hamas has already infiltrated the United States. I just showed you a ton of articles and my last 2 or 3 videos talking about this, guys. I'm not going to hit the same articles again. And of course, we know this. This is a different article covering what I talked about is my main topic in the last article, Day of Jihad to come, and it's projected to be Friday the 13th of all things. So, and it's been called for people, the Muslims all around Israel, to attack Israel in that time. See, this is why Iran and Hamas would, like it for the forces to hit Gaza Strip, because it will inflame the passions. They want that to happen. That's why they put missile launchers on civilian houses there. When Israel is flattening the buildings, they're probably just giddy with glee because they know it's going to start maybe World War III, a bigger conflict. So they've got a lot at stake here, and it's tragic. Who's suffering? The people, innocent people on both sides are suffering. I tell you, they play us against each other. They play us against each other, and that's the way the game is played. And like this, guys, you need to get ready. You need to get prepared. Like it says here, if you go to prepwithgreg.com, the unthinkable is happening. The only problem is it's really not unthinkable. I've been warning you guys about sleeper cells in this country for 4 years. I knew about it before then. I chaired 2 power grid defense conferences. I had an inside track on some of this intel from way back. So, guys, it's time to prep like there's no tomorrow, because we just don't know how long we got. But if you go to prepwithgreg.com, prepwithgreg.com, right now you can get 25% off a 3-month supply of food that lasts 25 years. You get 21 varieties, breakfast, lunch, dinner. You get some desserts and drinks in with this too. And it comes in these rugged, water-resistant buckets that you can bury in cachet points. So when the NDAA is exercised and they come through your house looking through your pantries, or when somebody storms your house looking to get what you got, it ain't there. You got it somewhere else, maybe in your backyard, under the house, or out in the woods somewhere where you might think you might want to bug out to. But, or you can get a 2-week supply if that's all you can handle. Each one of these buckets is 2 weeks for $127. Guys, that might be something to consider. Yeah, hey, go to the big box store, get your beans and rice too. But the cool thing is this is easy to bug out with. It's lightweight. It's easy to put in your caches. It's easy to bury. And it's got these nice little pouches inside, which you can throw in your backpack, your bug out bag. All right, enough said about that. Prepwithgreg.com. All right, let's move on. And I've warned you about these gangs, the cartels in Mexico. Well, right now, you see, Mexico has got some real problems with this, because these guys will just go in and take over cities. And that's what they're doing right now. This cartel is going around the Jalisco, however you pronounce it, New Generation Cartel. They've told people, hey, we're going to come through and purge your cities. And they got a list of cities they've named here that they're going to come through and purge. Let's see. Yeah, here it's a big long. We are moving through the towns off, and look at this long list of towns here. And quite frankly, they're so powerful that the army in Mexico doesn't seem to be able to stop them. So if our borders fail, the grid goes down, what's going to stop these guys from coming up here with all the rest that's crossed our borders? We know they're already operating in this country, at least in terms of trade of drugs and trafficking of people and other less speakable matters. So, guys, we got to get ready. We better be prepared. Here's another thing. An overwhelming majority of voters want Congress to pass a bill to secure the border. So why is it done? Rasmussen survey said that 74% of voters would support Congress passing a bill to support the border. It includes a staggering 53% said they strongly support such legislation. That's pretty overwhelming. That is pretty overwhelming. It has to be bipartisan to be these kind of numbers, guys. So why is it not being done? Maybe you wonder if some people just might want chaos in this country. You just got to wonder, guys. But you know what? We got to remember, we can't let them take our freedoms. That's the dearest thing to us. In the War of 1812, when the British actually went in and sacked Washington, D.C. and started burning it, the president ran so that he wouldn't be lynched. We didn't suspend our Constitution. We didn't suspend the Bill of Rights. In fact, it was those backwoodsmen that had those rights that carried their nugs that Andrew Jackson was able to use to rout the British in the Battle of New Orleans, a couple of days after the war actually officially ended as a truce. Had the Battle of New Orleans occurred before the truce was signed, the United States might have been declared the winner. But whatever the case is, wars are awful any way you shape it. I'm not advocating violence, but I do advocate self-defense. I advocate you being able to defend your family, and you've got to be able to defend against people who's coming here who might actually have nugs that are more powerful than yours, like these guys. Yeah, they're pretty heavily armed. I've showed you some other videos of these guys. And as a case in point, just so happens that pro-terrorist marches and massacre of Israelis should end the nug control debate. And this article here makes a big case for that. Of course, you know, what they probably want to see is something go down here, somebody across the border doing something, and then they think they got to throw a wet blanket over and take all of our rights away, when it's just the opposite. As you can see, as happened in Israel. Why did this happen in Israel? Because they didn't have the same kind of ownership of nugs that we allow here. Again, I'm using code words for those that are new to my channel, because this platform is not a freedom of speech platform. Here, a woman, 25. This woman here took care of business. She happened to have organized a neighborhood watch organization. And when all this started going down, she passed out the nugs. She told people where to position themselves. They took out 25 members of Hamas, 5 of which she did her very self. And she's credited with having saved her village, because they didn't go door to door in her village. And this is something you might be able to do. Form Neighborhood Watch, join our tribe network, go to survivaltribenetwork.org. Had somebody report what they thought was an issue with it. I forwarded it to our member that's known as Wise Owl here for her public persona. Being a prepper, you don't want to give all that away. Let me open the chat room here so we can see who's in here. I'm going to try and make this a quick video, because like I said, it's late, and I'll try to honor the request of our coffee club crowd to keep these things short. We got 189 in a room. Operation Thor, says Don Burge. Okay, just kind of scroll up real quick. So Wise Owl's in the house. So Wise Owl sent you an email today from a gentleman who thought he had some issues. I'm sure you could explain it all to him, because I know that one of the key, what I'm thinking his issue with is probably just the fact that we're trying not to show everybody's intel, so people can't lick you up as a prepper. And so he thought that we were somebody was taking his information. That's not the case. Wise Owl's a very honorable lady who's got a strong survival tribe network group up in Arkansas. Anyway, Iranian-backed militia threatens to strike U.S. targets as American carriers arrive in the Mediterranean. The head of prominent Iranian-backed militia in Iraq, say that they have militias there, and we know they've been firing rockets into our green zone from time to time, threatened to attack U.S. military bases should America intervene in ongoing war between Hamas and Israel. Well, there you got it, guys. So they're threatening not just Israel, and I showed you the other article earlier today on the Friday the 13th jihad, how their angst is also aimed at America for that. So what's going to happen, guys? Will anything happen to our guys? Well, it just so happens that maybe the United States, in their minds, is already involved. Israeli-Hamas war. U.S. Special Operations personnel on the ground as Austin pledges intel assistance. So they're just there providing intel, but they got boots. We got boots on the ground, guys. Not only that, we got Marines on the move. Of course, we're sending Air Force aircraft and 2 aircraft carriers to the region. As you may know, the Gerald R. Ford, the largest aircraft carrier, the largest warship ever made. What happened to this article? Did the article get pulled? Yeah, whatever article I had here got pulled. All right, that's their headlines right now from Times of Israel. See, the Israelis are up in arms over what's happened to them. And it's so heinous that they're going to overreact into Gaza. And that's going to be so heinous. It's going to play into the hands of the Iran and Hamas to pull off this jihad thing, probably. That's all the plan. As the Emperor told Darth Vader, everything's proceeding according to plan. Unfortunately, I think this plan got hatched out way longer ago than all of this. Anyway, so Israel at war, rocket fire resumes from Gaza, death toll. Yeah, oops, I used one of them words. Excuse me. This is ugly, guys, and it's getting uglier by the minute. And it's got all the makings for pulling us into it. Hamas attacks remind that sleeper cells are crossing southern border. Expert warns are already here. This is the kind of stuff I've been warning you about. Laura Reyes, however she pronounces her name, director of the Border Security and Immigration Center at the Heritage Foundation. Of course, that's a conservative group, but she's saying they're already here. Particularly the 1.7 million known gotaways, those who evaded Border Patrol because they didn't want to be fingerprinted because they're either known or suspected terrorists themselves. Quite an allegation. Well, we know a lot more than 1.7 million have crossed the border, but she's talking about known gotaways. What about the unknown gotaways? So when you combine the 1.7 million with the 7.4 million that the Border Patrol had encountered, we have to assume that the sleeper cells of terrorists are here in the United States. And Congress needs to wake up and preempt it. Is it too late? Will they get caught in this jihad? Well, I don't know. I had intel earlier that told me that something would happen on one of our major holidays coming up in November or December. I don't know, guys. That, like I said, I can't verify that, but it's given everything going down. How do you rule it out? How do you rule it out? It may come sooner. Maybe Friday the 13th, for all I know. Let's hope and pray not, but the makings are not pretty. What we're facing is not pretty. My chat room ain't moving. There we go. I'll look at the chat here right toward the end, guys. And I just got a few more articles to go through. We're going to be short tonight. We're not going to spend an hour in here tonight. I'm going to try to keep it down to 40 minutes if possible. The U.S. conducts prison swaps. This is what Hamas has told us. The U.S. conducts prisoner swaps, and they cited Biden's Iran deal as rationale for taking hostages. Lovely. Thank you, Joe. Wow, Joe, thank you so much for that. Michelle Young, salute. Thank you. Everyone be safe and keep your head on a swivel. Pray for Israel, captives, innocents in Gaza and USA. Amen. Amen. There's innocents everywhere that are subject to suffer due to all this hatred that has been spread. And that's what we got to worry about. But you also got to worry about taking care of your own. So, guys, get a load of this. Oh, yeah, we only paid $6 billion to free 5 people. That sounds like quite a bargain, doesn't it? That's over $1 billion a person. Oh, that was Iran's money. Yeah, but they weren't getting access to it. It was being held. So it might as well have just been paid to them. So, guys, now some in Congress are trying to lock it up again. We'll see how that goes. But, yeah, so we've gave them incentive. That's what happens when you pay hostage takers. That's what happens. Once you incentivize them, suddenly it's a good business. They're all going to jump in and take hostages wherever they can. It's lucrative. Holy smoke, guys. Israeli-Hamas war threatens to engulf the Middle East as Israel masses forces on the border for the Gaza invasion. This is what they wanted Israel to do. This is why their attack into Israeli villages was so heinous. And to be quite frank about it, a lot of Gazans were shocked by the whole thing. And there's plenty of Gazans that don't like Hamas. I tell you, there's good and bad people everywhere. The problem is everybody in Gaza is already suffering, and the woes have just begun. To them, it's doomsday. To them, it's already hit the fan. In Israel, it's already hit the fan. And it's going to be hitting the fan bigger and bigger over more and more area. This could be a global hits the fan. Israel bombs the Gaza's border crossings with Egypt. See, they're not letting the Gazans out. They're not letting relief supplies in. They've been cut off. Their water's cut off. Their food's cut off. Their power plants run out of fuel. It ain't pretty there. It's not pretty at all. All right, somebody's saying stuff. Hey, Pagan Prepper, you should watch the end of the video I did. Yeah, that's when they took out the Knights Templar, same date, which kind of ended one of the earlier New World Orders. So, was here. Yeah, we're not a religious channel here, but you know, guys, we're looking at the prospects of what we're all facing. We're looking at the prospects of what's coming at us, and just to be aware of it. And everybody in the world is caught up in this in one way or another, directly or indirectly, and it's spreading like a contagion. That's why I'm bringing it to you. There's talks of things happening here in this country and other countries. What's the worst? What's the worst that could happen? Oh yeah, William, you got it. It's maybe this is all part of it. You know what was in Deagle.com? That they may have been understating it, to be honest. If our grid goes down, it'll be worse than what Deagle projected. IDEO says it launched massive strike on the nest of terror, as they call it, in Gaza City. That's the Israeli Defense Force, if you haven't heard that enough already. I'm not going to play those videos. The platform would kick me in the shins hard if I did that. So I'm not going to play the video. Israel's bombed South Lebanon after Hezbollah rocket fire. So they've been attacking into Lebanon, into Syria. They've been attacked from Lebanon and Syria. So I watched a video today where the guy offered everyone on this subject. Oh, offended everyone. Well, that's good. I mean, you can't cover this stuff without offending somebody, to be honest, because there's people on both sides of it. And that's one reason I am not taking sides other than your side. I'm here to take your side to tell you what, you need to be aware. You need to get yourself ready. That's what my channel is about. I'm going to check out Green Graves. Thank you for my, well, thank you to Pagan Prepper. I did a couple of lives. I think it was one not before last, Rob, that got into the what happened right before I got this hat. I showed some video from Rex Bear, his Leak Project channel, and some from Galactic Greg's channel. You get a kick out of that, I'm pretty sure. Israeli officials call for doomsday missile. They're what they're talking about. Some of them are calling for a tactical nuke to be used in Gaza. Well, they're idiots, because that's just going to blow back on them. And it would also, yeah, that would really incite, yeah, the world would go crazy. The world would go crazy if they did something like that. And the world's about to go crazy anyway. U.S. armament is dwindling as military aid flows to two wars. Oh, yeah, by the way, guys, I just did an interview with David Pine. I have had him on my channel many times. Thankfully, Canadian Prepper discovered him from my channel and also has had him on his channel many times. David has a lot of interesting take on this stuff, and I will be posting that video probably tomorrow about the time I posted this jihad video that I posted earlier today. So probably about 3-ish, 4-ish p.m. Central Daylight Time. That's about when I'm expecting to post it. Shieldmate, hi, Greg. I have a meal out with my new job on Friday night. I'm debating whether to go out or not. Many Muslims live in my area. Would they run their content live for religious cause? It depends. You know, my next door neighbor is Muslim. Nice guy. Well, I'm not going to worry about him for 1 second. He's a nice, genteel kind of guy. Closest restaurant to my house here is a Greek restaurant, but it's run by a Persian guy. He's the sweetest guy you'd ever meet. I've worked for a Jordanian. He was my supervisor in a job. I had my Cuban mate at the time was Palestinian, and I had a Syrian in our group too. I think our group was about half Muslim, but they were good guys. They were good people. I didn't worry about none of them. Like I said, most people in the world, they just want to have a decent life. Most people want to be able to raise their children, or, if they're not into having kids, just be able to have a job that's decent and be able to enjoy life. That's what most people want. Most people don't want to go cutting heads off or get their own cut off. That's not where most people are at. It's where people, but we all have beliefs. We all have things that we hold dear to ourselves. And there are those that try to incite the flames within that to pit us all against each other. We get played. That's how wars get started. It's how people rise to power. There are a lot of people, a lot of start organizations or movements by the virtue of they get everybody together and they says, look, we got a problem and our problem is this, it's that, and they blame other people, other things, and they accrete power. And their so-called solution is to do bad things to the other side to keep them from doing bad things to you. And that's sad. But they also, in the incitation of hatred and power, they do things. They go into places like an invasion. That's what we're facing in this country. It's happening all throughout Europe. Look what's happened in France, over the past several months. A few months ago, France was on fire. Paris was on fire. In the old days, when people come over to America, they assimilated. But, now we're in the multiculturalism. Assimilation's bad. Well, really? That's sad. That doesn't mean that don't mean every religion, we should never have one religion, where everybody joins the same church, or any one thing like that, all the same political party, because that creates a tyranny of its own. Let's see here. Camel coffin or a happy note. Silver is plenty cheap right now. There you go. It's a good time. Oh yeah, I should have showed you. Go to defythegrid.com, right? New days, old ways. Go get a gyro for lunch tomorrow. She's been there. She knows what I'm talking about. Nice guy runs that place. Yes, ma'am. They're good over there. They got good food. It's actually a good restaurant. Closest restaurant to me is run by a Persian guy, and he's the sweetest guy you'd ever meet. He lost his wife to cancer, and it was rough on him, really bad. Israel has around 9 million people. And it got them all in an area that's about the size of the portion of Alabama that's north of the Tennessee River, which is where I live right now, in that part of Alabama, north of the Tennessee River, in the Tennessee Valley. Most of the Tennessee Valley is in Alabama. A lot of people don't realize that. I've seen some weather forecasters that just didn't know. They'd be pointing up the Columbia River or something, thinking they're pointing to the Tennessee Valley. Anyway, drops. Let's see, bought most of my silver at 12 to 14 bucks an ounce. Well, good for you. Wow, that good for you. It's double now. And that's a good thing. How the heck did Israel allow several breaches around their walls? Good question. Cuban nurse prepper. We have lots of cardiovascular surgeons in that area from Palestine. Never a problem with them. Yeah. Golbex. There you go. She just shared the link there. Thank you there, New Days. That's defythegrid.com. If you use the discount code GreenGregs, you get 1% off. So check that out. Tennessee born and raised here. I'm 8 miles south of the Tennessee border, lazy Giamma. But to get to the Tennessee River, I got to drive about 30 minutes south. It's quite a drive to get to the Tennessee River from here, south of here. But I am in Alabama, at least presently. I'm probably going to be heading back to Arizona in maybe a week or two. So I need to do some stuff out there again. It might knock me out of speaking. I'm supposed to speak at a worm conference on the 4th of November. And I'm beginning to wonder I may not make it. So because I've got some things I just got to do. So I might not make that. I'm going to have to notify them that my attendance is at risk. Maybe I can do it virtually. I don't know. But I'd really love to be there. There's a worm conference going on. In fact, I'll share the link to it for those of you who are into raising worms, which has been a big topic on my channel. Hang on, guys. Let me come back in here and share this link here real fast. Where is my screen from which I share? I got too many screens open. Share screen. Ding, ding, ding. So if you go to, I'll show you, I gotta move it down so I can see it. There we go. Wormfarmingconference.com. Wormfarmingconference.com. You can see I'm one of the top speakers building this event. That's a bunch of worms I shipped a few years ago. I was shipping worms like that every week there for a while. So quite a few worm farmers there. She's a neighbor. She's maybe about an hour west of me here. Maybe not an hour, 45 minutes probably. He's one of the, this guy's bought worms from me. He's in Arizona. He's actually bought worms. So I shipped worms to that guy right there. She's one of the conference organizers. This is going to be in her neighborhood. So there you go, guys. It'd be a good event. So, and let's see. Yeah, here we are, Defy the Grid. There's the goldbacks. For those that want to talk about, this is a good way to reserve some wealth. This is the 1,000th of troy ounce of gold here. This is the Wyoming #1 goldback. It's denominated in thousandths of a troy ounce. You can get 50 notes, you can get 10 notes, 5 notes, 25 notes. There's different things available here. But guys, you can get bullion, you can get silver, platinum, coins, and they got a deal that if you find a better price anywhere else, they'll meet or to beat it. Defythegrid.com. So much for that, guys, but stop the share. Bring Greg's worm charmer. Yeah, that's how my first videos, I started out talking about worm farming here, that and gardening. All I know is we need less control. We need less control. They're smothering us. Yeah, they are trying to smother us out here. And Egypt apparently told Israel an attack was imminent. Yeah, they did. Egypt warned them. Egypt warned them, but now Israel's attacking convoys going in and out of Egypt. Some of them may be Egyptian. And Egypt's actually put some forces on their border. I think there's some brigades there. And what we don't know, are they there just to maintain order, maybe to keep a horde of Gazans from crossing the border, or are they there to attack? We don't know, guys. There's a lot we don't know right now. See, Egypt and Israel have been at peace since Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat signed a peace treaty coordinated by Peanut President Jimmy Carter back in 1978. So I remember at the time I was a student of The Late Great Planet Earth, written by Hal Lindsey, and that was making me think, oh, does that mean Jimmy Carter's the Antichrist? He just didn't negotiate one of those peace deals. Well, I guess not, but had me wondering there for a bit. So, and outside with those type of constant tensions. So yeah, the question of how they get across that fence? Well, it's nothing but a fence. I mean, you know, they came across in great numbers all at once, and nobody was prepared for it. I remember a story from a book called The Gray Ghost of the Confederacy about the Confederate guerrillas that were operating out of Missouri during the war betwixt the states. They started fighting there before the war betwixt the states officially started and kept going after it officially ended. You might have seen the movie Outlawing Josie Wells. That movie was actually one of the most accurate movies I'd seen in terms of talking about, you know, showing how the things were actually done, the culture they had, the Lindsay Woolsey shirts they wore, and just a lot of stuff like that was very authentic, well researched in that movie, including how all that stuff starts. You know, the guy's a farmer, and next thing you know, he's being attacked, and his family's taken out. Well, what's he do? He joins a group and starts attacking back. It's that feud thing I've been talking about, the fanning of hatred. That's how these things get started. And but you know, in the end, Joseph Wells is the wise one, putting together a band of people from all over the place. He had Indians, he had people from up north, he had, you know, he was a Confederate. He put them together like one big family at the very end of the show. So there was a lot of wisdom in that show. Bushwhackers and Joseph Wells. There you go. So something, yeah, that's who they were, the Bushwhackers, the Redlegs, the Kansas Redlegs. So there's a lot of accuracy and a lot of things like that. And so there's a lot to learn from Clint Eastwood. Yeah, Clint Eastwood, not say Clint Eastwood. So that's what we got right now is a global feud. So this is what we got to be prepared for. Now, here's the thing. I got a crystal ball right here. What's it good for? Shining light. That's about it. We got the real crystal ball is right here. It's being able to understand what's going on in the world and trying to figure out where people are coming from, what their motivations are, and what they might do. That's what I try to do. I try to bring this information to you. I'm constantly trying to assess groups and organizations. I've been doing this for a long time. If you go back and watch the oldest video of me on YouTube, it's where I was doing the opening speech at the 1993 International Space Development Conference, which I chaired that year. Oh my God, that's been some time ago, right? 1993, and that's 30 years ago, right? So I chaired the 1993 International Space Development Conference, and in my very opening speech, I'm talking about the 1,000-mile war that occurred in the Aleutian Islands between the United States and Japan, and how the United States was just seemingly a backwards nation with dirt roads everywhere, and how we rose up through our determination to beat off the Japanese and the Germans through our willpower and can-do attitude. And we've lost a lot of our can-do attitude. Of course, we were the world's manufacturing center at the time. We were also the Saudi Arabia of the world. We had a lot of potential. Sounds like Doctor Who. So what's that film? I think it was a space film. The guy said, "What's happening in the Middle East?" And the guy replies, "Just a big hole there right now." Well, that may be where it's going. That may be where it's going, because and that may have been prophetic. Whoever wrote that, just looked out and says, "Look, there's so much hatred there. How does this place continue with all the hatred there?" Well, a lot of that has been generated. It's been created by the old divide and conquer, the Hegelian dialectic. Create a problem. You want something to happen. You got a solution you want. Well, create a problem and then provide the solution that gets you where you want to go. It might not be the solution everybody needed or everybody really wanted. That's part of the game. We get played. We're all being played. That's why I'm trying not to pick sides here, because I'm trying to get people to understand that we're all being played. There's good and bad people everywhere. Unfortunately, the people that float to the top are often the ones that smell like something that would float to the top, if you know what I mean. They tend to be heavier percentage-wise than sociopaths and psychopaths when they get to the top. And so they make trouble. They find ways to form their cliques, their groups, and they do things that does not serve the purpose of the people under them. It serves their own purposes. And their purposes are not always good. You know what I mean? So I don't know why they just don't go after yeah. Well, that wasn't the purpose, Trent. The purpose was to generate hatred. The purpose was to fan the flames. That's why when Hamas went into Israel, they did the heinous things they did, because they knew if they did heinous things like that, it would so inflame Israel that Israel would hit back 10 times harder, maybe 100 times harder. And that is what they want. That's what they want. Hamas don't care about the Palestinians either. And there's a lot of Palestinians that see through Hamas. They don't want none of that. But they're going to suffer at the hands of that. They're going to suffer mightily. And that's going to play into the hands of those that's trying to incite regional war, maybe global war. If y'all don't know, there was a certain letter written back in 1871, allegedly, according to a Chilean bishop, Allen-D, I believe was his name. Was it Carlos Allen-D? I may be getting, there's a couple other Allen-Ds out there. I may be getting confused. He alleged this letter was in a British museum. I say alleged because it didn't show up in the British Museum, but he said it was a plan for 3 WW3s, or for 3 WWs, if you know what I mean. At that time, the first one had already occurred. So it was just over. Somebody said, well, okay, he was just reacting to what's going on, blah, 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 blah. But what he laid out goes beyond where they were at that time. What he described and where we're at today may be coincidence, but boy, they surely resemble a lot. So one's got to wonder. Yeah, exactly, Jason. I got to be careful because if I spell that out, I'm gone. Poof, I'll disappear off this platform. So I can't talk about it anymore now. I'm just letting you guys know that there was some alleged document that made some claims, which we don't appear to be too far off from today. Now, I'm not making that, I'm not certain that that was the case. I'm not certain that, anything here. I'm just telling you it kind of resembles. So you got to wonder. That's all I'm saying. You got to wonder. So, but that's dangerous territory. I'm not going to beat on it anymore, guys. I get a lot of people going, well, how come you don't say this? How come you don't say it? Because if I said certain things, that would be the last time you'd ever see me. So I'm not going there. Nope, not going there. They're outside the rules of the universe from which I'm coming to bring you this message. If you know what I mean. So I got to be very careful here. Like I said, being on this platform is like walking on thin ice in an earthquake wearing cleats with artillery shells hitting the ice around you. On top of that, guys. So, yeah, I may have gone too far already. You may never see me again already. I may have ventured too far. I'm trying not to. But people want to know. And it's just this whole situation we're in fits the plans of Iran, seemingly. Maybe it fits the plans of the administration. You got to remember, this administration and the one that came out of previously, Obama, they really liked Iran. They liked Iran so much that when they played a hand in generating all these other color revolutions, when it came around to Iran, they did not support it. No, they didn't support Iran going through that. Sent a lot of money to Iran, pallets and planes. That's part of why Saudi Arabia was mad at the current president, because the current president was easy on Iran, and Iran's a threat to Saudi Arabia. But Saudi Arabia was hoping for a deal with Israel. But this current activity blows that apart because the population in Saudi Arabia with Israel attacking Gaza Strip would not support that. And it may turn the entire Arabic Muslim world against Israel once again, including all the peace deals that they had cut with Jordan, Sudan, with Egypt, and so forth. So everything's at risk. The whole region's at risk of going up in flames or bringing the world down with it. Tunnels. Yeah, there's a lot of tunnels there. So the bottom line here is I'm not trying to harp on history or who did what, who created what, where it came from. Those are not the points of this video. I'm not here to grandstand and say this is because of this or this is because of that. What I'm here to tell you is that people get played. Whoever the players are, I'm not even going there. There's just too much we don't know. But people get played. They get played against each other. And the people that play other people want to make them, they want them to react. And the way to get them to react the hardest is if they do it from the base of emotion, not logic. Logic would dictate that you don't do stupid things. Logic would dictate you only get in war if you have to defend yourself. Logic would dictate that there's more prosperity and peace than there is in warfare, unless you're a defense company, unless you own a lot of stock in a defense company, like probably John McCain's widow, excuse me, Lindsey Graham. I used to refer him to that because he used to always just chase around the coattails of John McCain all the time. And Lindsey does, I don't know, Lindsey's kind of a weird cat. He's definitely a big time chicken hawk. So, hey, all right, good night, Cuban Prepper. All right, we've been in here for 49 minutes. We've already went further than I want to go. It's in jamming. If something happens on our soul, who comes to help us? You. Don't count on anybody else. Just count on yourself. Count on whatever community you can form up, like that Israeli woman I showed you. She organized a community watch, and she passed out nugs right before those people come across. She heard it was coming, and they were ready, and they stopped it. They stopped it. This is why it's important to have the right to arm nugs. Happiness is a warm nug. How do you keep a warm nug? You keep it well fed. You feed it kibbles. Keep it really warm. You got to get the kibbles going through it pretty fast. You know what I mean? Now, I am an advocate of peace. I am not an advocate of war or violence by any stretch of the imagination, but I definitely believe in peace through strength. Because if you're the weakling, you're going to get kicked. You can get your teeth kicked in and your lunch money taken away. Be strong. But being strong means you're less likely to get kicked. But be able to defend yourself, be able to defend your family, and be able to do it on par with whatever the threat matrix is. The threat is no longer that burglar who's going to want to take your wallet. If this stuff goes down that we're talking about, if the jihad comes home, it's going to look like it did in Israel. These guys are going to have some major big nugs with all kinds of equipment on it. They're outlaws. So their stuff is not going to be what's permissible by the law. It's going to be heavy duty. It's going to be full auto. Kind of like my hammer, except it's going to be able to reach further than my hammer, if you know what I mean. You might have seen my video where I picked up my hammer in my van and I said, hey, it's got an infinite clip. It's got a built-in silencer. But I do not advocate violence. I advocate peace through strength. But we're in a time that you're going to need it. We're in a time that you need to have it by your, Thomas Jefferson once said, let every free man have his weapon by his side at all times. So people are trying to interpret the amendment number 2. And they go, oh, we don't know what they meant. Well, you should be listening to what they said. And the way the thing is written legalistically is a two-cause statement. If those that understand the way they wrote things back then, oh no, they definitely meant for us to be able to take care of ourselves. They definitely meant that. Bill the Kid Norwood have some of those. Oh yeah, some throwing sticks. Yeah, that's a good thing too. Rock Island Army has decent prices. Okay, but make sure you got something that will go bang more than twice. So think about those things and think of what it is that you're going to face. Think about what they're going to bring to you. Make sure that you got your tank of gas full. Keep your tank topped off. Make sure your pantry is full. Make sure you got supplies. Make sure you got the means to purify and sanitize. It's two different things, Dave Hodges. Water. I pick on Dave Hodges because once upon a time, he made a video where he made it sound like it's one thing. I shouldn't pick on him. Poor guy. If you're a bully to enough people, though, those people eventually going to see, yeah, exactly. And see, that's what's happened in Gaza. In Gaza, you've got what was like 10 years ago, that's the last number I saw several years ago, 2.3 million people. I hear that number cited today. When most of your people are under 18, I think the number is probably a lot higher than that now. But that place is crammed full of people in areas like 5 miles wide and 25 miles long. As I mentioned here, I grew up on a place called Sand Mountain. It's 25 miles wide and 75 miles long. You can fit 15 Gaza strips on it. And we had maybe 20,000 people up there, not 2.5 million. So these people are in an open air prison. Most of them have never even been outside of that chain link fence that holds them in prison. And what happens to prisoners when they're caged so long? They want to do something to the prison guards. So, but the proper thing if you were going to, if you got an issue with your prison guards, you go after them, not the kids outdoors, not the families. That was done to incite a reaction. That was done not for the interest of the Gazans in heart, guys. When they launch rockets from civilian home rooftops, oh, that's done to make those civilian rooftop homes a target. You know, I can see why Israel has got it in them to want to strike back the way they're going to strike back, but it's very most unfortunate. So never get up, says Cheryl Kutcher. Now, folks, if you disagree with me, put a 1 in the chat room. If you disagree with what I've said tonight, if you think that I'm being, you know, that hey, it ought to be all each other bangs each other, bang, bang, bang. If that's what you think, put a 1 in the chat room. I want to see if you disagree with me. If you agree with me, put a 2 in the chat room. I'd like to see where you guys think I'm at. If you agree, put a 2 in the chat room. Let's see where everybody's at on this. Awful waffle. That's exactly it. I lost everything. 8 September 2020. Oh, wow. Warfare. Small town full of pew-pews. There you go. Hey, Scooby Snacks from down under. Egypt closing border crossings, afraid of Palestinians to try to cross. That might be part of it. All right. People are agreeing with me from what I'm seeing so far. I'm seeing the 2s come up. Well, that's good. Now, if you disagree, don't be afraid to tell me. But, you know, I'm glad that I got a message here that's resonating with you. You know, it's like, again, we'll go back to Outlaw and Josie Wells. What happened? He went to 10 bears. He came to 10 bears of strength. He rode up 10 bears was about to attack his little village he'd put together, that little homestead he had. So Josie Wells rode right up to him. He was outnumbered, Indians all around him, you know, from the Comanche. And he went straight to 10 bears in that, and, you know, and 10 bears told him that, I know who you are, you can go your own way. They knew he was quite the deadly pistolier. And he says, I'm afraid not. He says, I come here to live with you or die with you. And 10 bears respected that. And they told him there's iron in your words. And of course, this is all a fictional writer, but if you read the everything said, it's beautiful, really beautiful. What was laid out in that. That was one of the most eloquent things I've ever seen in a movie out of Hollywood, but that's because I think Clint Eastwood had a hand in it. But, you know, peace through strength. And sometimes you got to look each other in the eye and make an agreement, man to man, woman to woman, whatever it takes. But, you know, you don't get there through appeasement. Peace through strength. We got to be strong, and we got to get strong. You got to be strong, protect your family. You better have the means of protecting your family. That's what I'm telling you. Keep your nug, you know, make sure, you know, the furry coat, you know, of your pets need to be shiny. So make sure you get some good oil on that, the coat of your nug, if you know what I mean. Mule deer ain't small. No, they're not. If you just join my video now and you're catching me midway here, and you don't know what the word nug means, take it and go, boop, you'll get it. Dirty Harry. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, make my day. Yeah. So anyway, guys, I've been long enough here. We've been here almost an hour. I didn't mean to be in here this long. I believe it's a holy war, and the innocent women and children who are taken out are told and believe they will go to paradise and all. Yeah, well, yeah, it's tragic. It's tragic. You know where you wear it? This is a tragedy. It's a huge tragedy. It's a tragedy on both sides. It's nothing to celebrate. I've seen other channels that they're kind of celebrating some of this stuff. I'm not going there, guys. I'm not going there. Australia, we went back to the Stone Age. Well, I'll go to the Stone Age if this stuff plays out the way some people want to play it. If our grid gets taken out, we're in the Stone Age, guys. Hornet, wasp, sap, bear spray. There you go. There you go. Practice with, yeah. Pet that nug. Practice with it. Train it well. Let it train you. Like I said, happiness is a warm nug. Okay, guys, y'all get the picture. What was the purpose of the video tonight? I was further driving home the evidence for what's coming across our border. I brought you the president of Guatemala and what he had to say. I brought to you tonight what is going down the Mideast. Each side is claiming, well, if they do this or they do that, then we're going to do this. That's all going to go higher. And you see these things already happening. How do we bring it back from where we're at? Well, I do have some hope for that. That's why I cleaned all of mine today. Well, good, Cheryl. And thank you, Pagan Prepper. But did go back, I think it was, guys, when I talk about the voice and light anomaly, was that last night or not before last? It's all running together in my head. One of my recent overnight videos. It was the last one you were in on, Pagan Prepper. Last time you were in here, it was that video. You left before I got to that. So go back and check that toward the end, past the point where you got out of it. Not celebrating the end of this stuff. I just want people to quit dying. Amen, drops. That is the point. That is the point right there. We don't want that. I've never been so happy to live in the Appalachians. Oh, there you go. There you go. Did a great job of bringing us awareness. That's what I'm trying to do, guys. You got to be aware. And right now, you better be situationally aware. Let me add this in closing. There are a lot of people who've been stirred up. There are some people out there just to stir up things, to make trouble. And the best, most effective way to do that is to commit heinous acts. We've seen it in Israel. We could see it here. Heinous acts, extremely heinous. You wouldn't believe it could possibly happen in your neighborhood kind of acts. That's what they like to do. They'll have a harder time doing it in certain areas here because, well, some of us have a lot of pet nugs. But that don't mean that they won't do something. They can aim for the grid, the substations. They can aim for our dams. They could go into shopping malls. Now, the biggest attractions to them will be where there's crowds, like a music festival, a football game. Now we're coming into football season. A football game. There's been movies about things happening during the what's that big football game we do every year? The professional football, Roll Tide. Hey there, Miles. Amen. Roll Tide. I'm getting brain locked right now. The what's the big football game with the big New World Order halftime show in every game these days? Oops, I said a forbidden word there. Yikes. I actually caught you live. There you go with Just Mike 22. Super Bowl. There you go. Thank you there, Billy the Kid. I don't get brain locked sometimes. I'm 63, folks. When I was a younger man, I used to, man, I'll be glad when I'm older so I get an excuse for this. Well, I got my excuse now. You're right, save your life. Michelle Young, Super Bowl. There have been movies about attacks occurring during the Super Bowl, and that's a possibility, but something may happen a lot sooner than any one of these events. Super Bowl is pretty well monitored. They'd probably do it at a college event or something like that, where things aren't, where the security is not so high. Hey, C. Shelley, salute. Thank you, C. Shelley. I appreciate that. So anytime you're in an area where there's a crowd of people, Stupor Bowl. Keith, you got it. That's a better name for the Stupor Bowl. It's getting stupider and stupider all the time. I boycott the entire NFL. You know, things they've supported, they're on my boycott list. They ain't got nothing to do with them anymore. College football, Roll Tide. Heck yeah. But the NFL, I got no use for them. You know, I got about as much use for that as I got for Bud Light. And by the way, I'm not a beer drinker, so I gave up alcohol for Lent a long time ago. Actually, it makes my heart beat too fast. I just stay away from it for the most part. I don't sleep, just rest. There you go, John. Yeah, I wished I was in Arizona right now so I could catch that eclipse. I'd hoped to have been out there, but I've had things I need to do here, so I'm going to miss it. Growl, snarl. So, Stupor Bowl, you're getting a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Stupor Bowl. Hey, JoJo, how you doing? We're about done here. We're landing early tonight. Drops got my own off-grid power. That's what I'm going to have. Yeah, it will be rough in the winter. Absolutely. And unfortunately, that's why I'm trying to get things set up before the winter sets in out there. Don't know how much I'll get done, but I got to go out there and take a stab at it. This Friday's Friday the 13th. It is a day associated with horror. But the where Friday the 13th got considered bad luck is when the Knights Templar were taken out. They got taken out, eliminated on a Friday the 13th, hundreds of years ago. Was it 1400s? A long time ago, they got taken out. They had an international banking system, and so they were really in control of Europe, and but they got taken out. So that shows that that those that would like to run the world today, they pay a lot of attention to that, because they don't want their little whatever to be ended. They want to use technology to control us and finance. That's why I don't want to be sucked into the CBDC system. That's why I like stuff like this. This is not going to be tracked. It's not going to be tracked. I can barter these with folks, and there's no tracking. Who hates you? Ryan's. I don't even know who that is. All right. I'm drinking hard tea. Oh, Billy the Kid, you be careful. Yeah, I got a drinking problem myself. I got some coffee right here in this mug. Good coffee. And I've got tea also. I got hard tea too. It's unsweet. Does that make it hard? There's nothing added to it. Just unsweet tea. Southerners usually like sweet tea. That's how my mother used to make tea so sweet, you could stick a spoon in it and stand straight up. That's what me and my brothers always said. She liked her tea super sweet. Knights Templar taken out. Oh, 1314. Okay. Yeah, I knew it's hundreds of years ago. Long time ago. So that was considered bad luck. I don't know if that was really bad luck. I don't know that. Actually, 13 has been a lucky number in my family, so I'm not going to sweat it too much. It was over on Rumble. Okay. So 19 years sober. All right, Angela, good for you. Good for you. Well, good for you. So anytime those that want to control us have their control broken, it's hard for me to equate that with something bad. A lot of people are taking it. Greg, you're two-fisted caffeine drinker. Yeah, it might be a problem. I did say I had a drinking problem. Here we go. Coffee and tea. Unless I pour them together, I can't drink them at the same time, though. I have done it, especially when my coffee's up super hot. Poured a little tea in it, cool it off. Anyway, Quantrell's Raiders, absolutely. That was the main subject. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you about. Yeah, y'all talk about how they could get through the wall. Thank you for mentioning that. When Quantrell's Raiders, I think that was a group. He had that was one of the guerrilla groups that was in the Missouri, Kansas area, and that little war they had going on there. And the Redlegs, Union folks, had them. Thought they had them outnumbered. They had them caught in a house. They had a hard time catching these guys. They were trying to catch them and limit them. So they got them in this house, set the house on fire, and was all there waiting for them to come out the door because the house is burning down. The guys in there, they know if they go out that door, they're going to be picked off one at a time. They wouldn't survive. So they stood there and let that wall burn really good. And once that wall was really good and burnt and weak, all these guys kicked the wall in at once, and they all went through the wall, and every one of them got away. They came out guns blazing, and they all got away. They all made it. They all survived. Totally astonished the enemy on the outside. Well, that's what happened in Gaza Strip. Somebody's asking me that earlier, and I meant to tell them that. I was going to use this as an analogy, and I got sidetracked talking about this stuff. Thank you for that. We got off on Outlaw and Josie Wells. Now I know why I got off on that tangent. You got me back to it here when you mentioned Quantrell's Raiders. So they escaped because they all went through it one time. So that's what happened there with Hamas. They went through the gate all over the place. They made just massive attacks coming outside all over the place. They made like 20 kilometers into Israel, just like right off the bat. The IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, just went in there and they wasn't ready for it. It totally astonished them. That gate wall was more substantial than the chain link fence that goes around our military bases here in the United States. So if the drug cartels in Mexico want to go through Fort Hood and grab everything that's there, they probably could, just like the Afghans took all that military equipment from us over there. So we got to be careful. No electronics. Okay, the desert is what, Trent? I moved to Arizona and realized that if the power goes out and the heat probably will kill people in the summer and everything is electric and a horrible place. Well, my place is up in North Arizona. It's actually cooler than Alabama, cooler than North Alabama on average. Mad Max World Gold will be useless. My big brother nugget potatoes worth more. Well, might be, but the thing about the precious metals are they're easy to transact because they're small. And it lasts a lot longer than a tater, but taters will definitely have their value. Seeds have their value. Oh yeah, talking about seeds. I don't know if we'll get them right now. History. Well, both cities were tie-in for the county seat here early in the 1900s. They burned both towns down during that period. Oh my God. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Yeah, anyway, I've had nightmares about our military coming through my yard. Could do it, could happen. Guys, this is why we need to be ready. This is why you need to form your survival tribe network. You need to get involved, form a group if you can. If you can find appropriate people in your area that you can really trust. I mean, you got to vet them. You got to be able to really trust them. You got your family. You got maybe certain neighbors and friends. You need to really pull them in. Have plans. Things can go down real fast, guys. We may be on the verge of it. I had a dream about a rabbit on a plate last night. Hey, that's a good dream, Molly. Rabbit on a plate. I put a few rabbits on a plate, even when I was a kid, coming out of the woods. So bartering might be a form of currency. Yeah, that's the whole deal, bartering. So the cool thing about this is it's easy to barter with because it's small. You can put it in your wallet instead of something you got to throw in the back of the truck. But bartering may be the way of the future. Snowflake area in the mid-30s. Hey, Keith. It's in the mid-30s right now? Oh, boy, I got to check it out. All right, now you got my curiosity. Well, I wasn't going to do this, but now you want me to go to Wendy. Oh, it's snowing up in the Colorado. Okay, guys, we'll do a quick weather check here. We're not going to go through everything because I don't want to be all night in here. But now you got my curiosity up. Ding, 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 dong, 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 dong. Here in Colorado, up in the mountains, Wyoming, a lot of snow, a lot of rain over here in Nebraska. Look at South Georgia. All this stuff just skirted south of me. Big storms. We just got a little light rain up here today. She Weather told me it was going to have light rain. 66 in Oklahoma City. That's a devil of a temperature. Flagstaff, 41. Okay, it may get down in the 30s. Not right now. Shellow's only 53, and Shellow's usually cooler than Snowflake. Snowflake's 52 right now. Yeah, it was getting down in the upper 50s when I was out there, even in late August. Advance the time just a little bit. What's it going to be at 3 a.m.? My time, it is almost 3 a.m. 6 a.m. out there. Okay, so I'm going to go down to 50. And they're going to get a big temperature drop tonight. It's not according to this. 50 in Snowflake. It's 6 a.m. their time. Let's see. Right now, what? All right, guys. So what's it over in? Well, I might get the temperature off a little bit. Let me hit the refresh button. I got the time off a little bit. Get back to current time. 59 in Huntsville. Well, it's almost as cold here, but not quite. It was just cooler in some parts of Arizona. So what new days is setting at? 46, cooler there. All right, we got a lot of rain in the country right now, guys. What's Arnold setting at? 40s. Fairbanks is 23. Kotzebue 26. Nome is 32. Ding, ding, ding. Delta Junction 25. All right, guys, enough of that. I didn't want to do weather tonight. It's be 30 minutes doing weather. All righty. Keith in Arizona had me curious there a minute. It's gonna be another 2 weeks here. Yeah, fall and winter again. I don't doubt that. 57 in North Carolina. Okay. Thought it was snowing, but realized I had dandruff. It's out of spots in my glasses and these spectacles. There you go. Montevallo, Alabama. Hey there, just Mike. Come back to the world's collapsing big time in many. Guys, if you just look at it, the economy is on the skids in every way you can imagine. Here in the United States, we're divided deeply. We got a chasm right here in this country. And you look at internationally, you look at all the tension with Russia, with China, with North Korea, with Iran, what's going on in the Mideast. I've never seen my lips itching. Scratching on my tooth. We have never seen anything like this. Some people compare it to the 30s. We didn't have nukes in the 30s. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like the 30s. But yeah, then it was just, Germany and Japan against the world. Now we're facing all kind of threats, lots of which we've never faced before. The passion, the hatred is fanned beyond anything we've ever known, here at home and abroad. And that, I just said in my last video, that the way evil takes over is through hatred. The way evil robs you of your soul is to fill you with hatred. That will separate you from the greater creator. That in certain sins, So that's why I always like to end my video, among other things, telling you guys that as light dispels dark, there's my stage lights behind me here, or in front of me. Love dispels hate. Now, I know it sounds sappy to be talking like this. It's not what you hear on most prepper channels. Most prepper channels say bang, 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 and well, I do that too, but not as a first recourse. Only in defense. Only in defense. I hate 100-degree weather. There you go, Cha-Cha. I agree with that, especially when it's humid like around here in these parts. Bankers are literally looting us. They are. The robbers are the banksters. The banksters are the biggest robbers there are, but they always have been in reality. So, guys, they're fanning the flames of hatred. They're fanning against each other. And you may not be able to change the whole world, but you might be able to change that little microcosm around you, your community. And the way to make big waves is to start with small ones. Every little pebble dropped in the water sends a wave out. If that wave is love, that's a good thing. So shine your love light in the world. But we're living in a time. Hey, Larry, the financial shows have experts that can't give a way out of a deficit spending. They're all agreed that we're in a doom loop with our fiat dollar. We are, but you know what? There is a way out. Cut the three-letter agencies that are out trying to rob us of our freedoms. Remember when Nancy posted, oh, I can't imagine. I can't find any place where we could cut a single penny. Remember that? Oh, my God. Put me in charge of the budget. There'd be some things change. I might not be popular with a lot of folks. It'd probably do me in. But yeah, we can make a lot of cuts. When this country was started, it lived off, the government was run from tariffs, from trade. There was no income tax. When they passed the income tax, That's when we got in trouble. You know, you got to notice they passed income tax and created a Federal Reserve in the same year. But that was entirely coincidental, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod. Exactly. Larry, I believe your friend Lee did a video in your name today. Did you see that? I don't know what that was all about. Anyway, God bless you, Greg. Same to you, listen for vision. Tired electric blanket. Yeah, I would not sleep under an electric blanket. Might go down to 1 trillion. Well, I'll tell you what, if we go into default, it might go to 0 or something close to it. It's going to be, we're on the verge of having a world that's going to be nothing like anything we know. Yeah, I was thinking about how all the goings downs and prophecies have been given. And we got the Ring of Fire Saturday. Yeah. Well, thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. Bankers created the Fed and Res so they wouldn't have to bail out the country anymore. Populism killing the world? Is it really populism? I don't know. That may be what they want us to think, but you know, democracies don't work. What they've done is they've created us as a virtual democracy. We're supposed to be in a republic. When they come out of the Independence Hall, someone asked Ben Franklin what they were doing. He said, "We've just created a republic if you can keep it." Eat veggies, okay. Cult of personality. Yeah, that's what the dictators have. Cults of personality. We paid in a Social Security. It's our own money. It should be if we paid into it all our lives. I'm about to point I'm going to really need it, and it may not be there. Good seeing you live. All right, Justin Mike, good to see you. Jerry Gamble, I live in Nashville, and if you don't the weather today, just wait till tomorrow. Area. I suppose you said like, there it is. Just see it now. There's a woman who asked. Okay. All righty. We're supposed to be 50 war tribes in a trench coat. Yeah, it was intended for the states to be a lot more independent than what they are. Unfortunately, that changed after the War of Northern Aggression. Yeah, we did pay into the system, but now they're talking about ending it completely. If they don't end it all at once, I paid into it my entire life. And now I don't really have, I might be at the point that and YouTube may be all I have in just a couple months from now, maybe all I got for all I know. That's one reason for me to go to Arizona where I can live for very little. I hear you, Drops. Yeah, Larry, I wasn't picking on you. You didn't say anything since. I wasn't picking on you at all. Anyway, physical, spiritual, psychological preparedness, yes. Stay centered. Stay centered. If you lose your head, you might lose your head, literally. You got to be aware, situationally aware. Think. Don't react emotionally. That's what they want you to do. When you react emotionally, you do stupid things. You get hurt or you hurt other people. That's right, WM. That dry air has got its advantages. So make sure you can think. Your mind is the most powerful thing you have. No matter what bang bang you got on you or how many horsepower you got in the engine, the most power you got is between your ears if you use it correctly. So think about it. Use your mind, use your brain. That's why you've got a big one. Good Lord saw fit to give us all 100 billion brain cells, and some people don't do anything more with it than a weed growing out in a field. They don't use it. Of course, they condition us not to use our brain. They really prefer we wouldn't think for ourselves. That's what we got to do, folks. Think for yourselves. Okay, folks, we've been here too long. We've already gone too long. High speed. There you go. There you go. Cheryl's Country Living. Pay for 50 years. Yeah, I hear that. I've been paying that since I was 16. I'm 63. So getting been a long time. Darn near 50 years. Most power is common sense. My dad said common sense ain't too common. That is the truth. Amazing the wise things that our fathers used to tell us. We need to pass this down to the young people today. We've let the school systems take over and indoctrinate our kids, and they fill their kids' heads full of mush. We need to take that back, guys. That's why occasionally I do a video talking about, like communism in China, and I've been planning to do one on socialism. That's why I cover topics like that from time to time. And it's so that you can use them to reach out to the younger folks. Maybe some of the younger folks, typically when they see those videos, they get mad at me. Because what I tell them isn't what the schools have put in their head. So I'm trying to get them to see the world a little differently. Uncommon sense is what I call it today. Yeah, it's very all too uncommon. I have no sense. You got 2 cents? All right. No drinkable water, no life. Amen to that. That's why I did a video, ways to purify and sanitize water. That's how I did that before I started covering wild edibles, because that's the most important thing. I will be upset at when it hits the fan if I have to stop drinking. Well, make your own. You have loved my dad. At 15, he sat me down and told me the truth. There you go. I got a lot of wisdom from my dad, and I've got some videos of my dad. I got my dad's in videos on this channel. If you go back to some of my oldest videos, he's there. My dad lived 3 weeks shy of being 99. And the whole time he lived by himself. He cooked, he cleaned. He made a garden until just a couple of years before that. He mowed his own yard the year he passed away when he was 98. Still drove. He was a strong guy, and he kept his wits about him the whole time. He'd rather tease you than eat when he was hungry, and he was good at it. And he still had all that wisdom. So these older folks, they're gems, and we too often ignore them. We don't see the glitter in that gem. Too many of us, especially young people, think we're just so much smarter. We don't need to hear that. Oh, we know everything. No, you don't. Listen to the old folks. Addiction's something could really hurt if oh yeah, guys, that's nothing to watch out for. When a grid goes down, all these people that's on these medicines, they've been addicted to them. These are behavioral medicines. Once they don't have those, they're liable to go nuts. So you never know where it's going to be coming from. This is why you got to stay situation aware. Watch people. See who's being erratic, who's jittery, who looks like they got something wrong with them. There's just something not right. Something's off. That might be a person who's either coming down from being addicted to one of those behavioral drugs, or somebody who's plotting something really heinous. And it could be they still got a little bit of a conscience in them, hounding them about what they're going to do. And of course, there's the sociopaths and psychopaths who have no empathy. That's the dangerous ones, guys. That's the dangerous ones. So yes, just Mike 22, everyone stay vigilant and stay safe. Exactly. Stay frosty, as Jack over what's it, Prepper, Black something Prepper tells us. Grid down. That grid goes down, you're going to need people like me and Greg that know how to get it back online. There you go. Drops is also an electrical engineer. Granddad will be 99 Halloween. All right, well, good for him. Amen. Stay away from the crowds. Larry, you're right. Stay away from the crowds. That's going to be a big thing. Stay away from crowds. That's going to be the big target areas. And also the person causing trouble might be in that crowd. We're coming into testy times. This is why you got to really be situation aware. All right, folks, I've beat on this horse enough. I'm just beating the same old horse. There's no point in keeping that up. Cha, thank you very much. Hey, I want to thank all you super chatters. We're going to end this. we're at 90 minutes. I meant to do just be 40 minutes tonight. We're already twice as long almost. Guys, thank you for super chatters. Thank you, mods. Hey, we only got 221 thumbs up. We got 255 in the room. On the way up, please vote a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. We need the help because the algorithms have been stomping me hard lately. They've been stomping a lot of the channels like me. Some of the guys out here putting in content like me have been talking about videos that got taken down. The platform just come in and just totally went poof, took their videos away. Some of them. That's been happening. Some channels go poof too. So we got to be careful here. But anything to do to help with the algorithms help. Is NASA firing 3 missiles in the Ring of Fire? No. Well, yeah, they got big rockets. Sometimes they do little sounding rockets, but the Ring of Fire is just the sun being blocked by the moon. And that's over certain areas. So I'd say not. Granddad was second wave Normandy, World War II. There you go. Veteran still cost. Veteran still cost cuts his own grass and tiller. There you go. There you go. Now we're talking. All right, Jerry. Come in late, got to rewind. We'll do that. Hit the rewind, guys. All righty. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Again, thank you, super chatters. Thank you, mods. And just remember, keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. Be super situationally aware right now. And I'd say follow the advice of Thomas Jefferson about keeping her, you know what, at your side at all times, if you at all can. We're talking about your pet nug. All right, folks.